Hmm. Okay, to start, so my name is Michael Johnson. I'm your instructor, and how the course is going to be outlined is we're gonna have a term test on January 26th, and that's gonna be from chapters 1 to 4. And then we're gonna have a term test 2 on February 16th, and that's for chapters 5 to 8. And then we're gonna have a quiz March 16th, which is chapters 1 to 8. So it's more of like a review of those chapters. I'll show you the weightings for all that. And then March 30th will be test 3, and that's chapters 9 to 13. Then April 13th, the assignment will be due. So you'll have to do an essay on the question, what are the macroeconomic benefits of entrepreneurship? So you're going to find benefits of entrepreneurship and link it to so based on that, you're going to have to use all the chapters in the textbook and find how to link that to entrepreneurship. And then April 20th will be the final exam, and that'll be focused on chapters 14 to 18. So how we're going to structure the course is the final exam won't go through all the chapters. It'll be structured more bit by bit. So, term test 1 would be chapters 1 to 4. Term test 2 would be chapters 5 to 8. And then so on, like that. And so I'd recommend, so the TLP, show you this. So I'd recommend you read this. It'll go through a lot of what we're doing in the class. Mm-hmm. And then the weightings, I'll show you the weightings. So the term test will have 45% weighting altogether. The final exam will be 25%. The reason for that is the final exam will only be 4 chapters. That's why it's less than the term tests. And then the quizzes will be 10%. So the quiz that I showed, it's like a review quiz, it'll be 10%. So it's more of like a review quiz. It's not that much of your mark. It's just to review the first 8 chapters. And then the assignments will be 20%. So that'll be the assignment on connecting the entrepreneurship to the 18 chapters in the course. So yeah, the TLP will go through more specifics about the course outline. So if anyone has any questions, just let me know, put your hand up, or do it in the chat. So we'll start with chapter 1 today. Chapter 1's on limits, alternatives, and choices. So these are learning objectives for the chapter 1. So you're going to go through facing trade-offs, opportunity costs, and choosing a little more or less, and influence of incentives. And specialization in trade, the effectiveness of markets, and the role of governments. And also we'll go through production and the standard of living, money and inflation unemployment trade-off. So economics is concerned with the efficient use of scarce resources to get to make sure that we meet the wants of society. And scarcity, it only allows for us to choose certain options and not be able to choose other options. There's no free lunch, so we can't make stuff out of nothing. We need resources. So opportunity cost is the choice of what is forgone for that choice. So you go into school, you're losing wages for a job you could be doing right now. So that's an opportunity cost. Also the cost of tuition, the cost of books, and the cost of everything in school. That's also an opportunity cost. So all that together are the opportunity costs of going to school. So purposeful behavior, people pursue opportunities in order to increase their utility. So it's the satisfaction that a person gets from consuming a good service. So marginal analysis, comparing benefits and costs. And then the scientific method is observe, then formulate a hypothesis, test the hypothesis, accept, reject, or modify the hypothesis, and then continue to test the hypothesis if necessary. So theories, principles, and models we use to simplify theories, principles. So it's used to generalize economic principles and using graphs. So the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics. Microeconomics is focused on individual units like firms and households, like companies. Macroeconomics is focused on the economy as a whole. Positive economics goes through the facts to find out cause and effect relationships. And the normative economics goes through what ought to be, so non-number statements. So economic problem, individuals have to make choices because economic wants are unlimited, but the means are limited. So they only have a certain set amount of resources and they got to live within those to build. And limited income, so even the wealthiest people have limited resources. And then there's unlimited wants. So you might want, like, you only have limited resources, but you have unlimited wants. So average income in Canada is one of the highest in the world. It's $47,250 per capita in 2015 US dollars. That's fourth highest, below the United States, Switzerland, and Norway. And the budget line is a schedule of a curve that shows the two products that the consumer can purchase with specific money income. So if you have a $120 budget, you can purchase. So you can purchase 6 CBDs, because the reason why is because $120 divided by 6 CBDs. Sorry, $120 divided by $20 per DVD. Budget divided by $120 per DVD is 6. So then you can use your whole budget to pay for 6 DVDs, or you could use your whole budget to pay for, so $120 budget divided by 12 bucks, so divided by $10 per buck equals 12 bucks. So you can use your whole budget to pay for all that. Or if you want to share it, sort of, you could do like, so what you could do is you could pay for, so you could do $20 per DVD times 3 DVDs plus $10 per buck times $6, and then you'd get $120. So you get somewhere in between where you kind of share it. So you can do either. So be here if you want. So these are all the things you can afford with $120. So anything inside of here is attainable, you can pay for. And anything on the line you can pay for, as shown by what I was saying. But anything out to the red of the line, you can't pay for. It's too much money for you right now. So yeah, they did go through those slides here. So yeah, so I did this here. You do the income divided by the price. And then you get the number of DVDs you can purchase. Then there, yeah, the income divided by the price, and you get the number of books you can purchase. Society's economic problem. You have scarce resources, such as land, labor, which is human capital, capital investment, and then entrepreneurial ability. So those are limited. You can't you have a limit on all those, and you might have unlimited wants, but you only have limited resources. So entrepreneurs, economic functions, they take initiative, they make business decisions, they innovate, and they bear risk. So production possibilities model assumes, so it shows production choices. It assumes full employment, fixed resources, fixed technology, and then two goods, consumer goods and capital goods. So in this case, like they have pizzas and industrial robots as the type of product. So they'll show what they can produce. So either they can produce all industrial robots, they can produce 10,000 industrial robots, they just produce industrial robots, or if they just want to produce pizza, they would produce 400,000 pizzas. So since this one's 400,000, and then this one is 10,000 industrial robots, I'll ask the class, what would be B? Like how many industrial robots and how many pizzas would you produce for B? You want to state in the chat uh, or unmute yourself. That's correct. That's great. Yeah. Great job. So you 9,000 robots and then 100,000 pizzas. That's great. Good job. So that's excellent. What about C? Does anyone have an answer for C? That's great. Correct. Yeah. C is correct. That's great. Good job, Nolan, Patrick. Excellent. So C is correct. What about D? Who has an answer for D? Great job, everybody. Yeah. Excellent. You got it. Great job. So yeah, it's 4,000 pizzas and 300,000 robots. So great job. Excellent. So the law of increasing opportunity cost makes the PPC concave. So it's always concave because opportunity costs go up over time. So in this case, so I'll just erase this. Anything to the right of the PPC is unattainable, so you can't afford it. So that's another word for like you don't have like it's unaffordable. And anything on the line or inside the line is affordable. So optimal allocation is when marginal benefit equals marginal cost. So that means that it's most efficient. So when marginal benefit equals marginal cost is most efficient. So it's most efficient when there's 10 or 10,000 industrial robots and 200,000 pizzas. So unemployment, the economy might not be operating at full employment. Points inside the production possibilities curve. A move towards full employment yields a greater output. So yeah, U here, that means there's unemployment. So they're not efficient. So there's this usually happens during recessions. So if they get to U here, it's probably a recession. Yeah. So that's probably what happened because they're producing at lower than their capacity. So a growing economy, there's more factor supplies and the PPC shifts out. There's improved factor quality and technological advances. So this usually happens when the economy is growing. So, so when there's a growing economy, the PPF shifts, the PPC shifts out. And things before could be attainable because you're able to produce more pizzas and more industrial robots. So international trade works best when you specialize in a product. So it's best if one country trades with another country, the product that they both trade with another country, the product that they have the lowest opportunity cost for. So like let's say country A, lowest opportunity cost product is an iPhone. And then trades with country B, lowest opportunity cost product is in Tesla. So that's the most efficient. They trade their lowest opportunity cost products, which is also called specialization. Recurring model. It's called the recurring model. That's what you call the recurring model. So that's how the China and US trade relationship happened for a lot of years. China would produce so labor intensive products. China produced labor intensive products while the US produced capital intensive products, and they traded. This is the most efficient outcome. So yeah, that's the most efficient outcome, uh, like in historical terms. So yeah, yeah, at least that. So there's a lot of bias in economics. You gotta avoid bias, and then yeah, bias can skew your, like you can use theories to shape data or data to shape theories. So you gotta make sure that bias isn't going to there. You gotta kind of look at the data and then reason up from there instead of coming in with a bias at the beginning and then skewing the data. So then also, so correlation and causation. Correlation does not mean causation. So if let's say increase in ice cream consumption is 100% correlated, is 100% correlated with airplane crashes, with an increase in airplane crashes. That does not mean that that increases in ice cream consumption cause airplane crashes. So yeah, that's a very important thing because like you could see two things, like one goes up, the other goes up. Doesn't mean that one causes the other, because like in this case, eating ice cream doesn't cause airplane crashes. So that's an important thing. So that in economics. So yeah, we went through all this chapter. So we'll go through next. So we'll actually we'll go through a game on that. But like actually we're gonna go through a video on some of that stuff. I'm just gonna
Say you're some type of a hunter gatherer and you're trying to figure out how much of your time to spend hunting and how much of your time to spend gathering. So let's think about the different scenarios here and the trade-offs that they involve. And just for simplicity, we're going to assume that when you're talking about hunting, the only animal around you to hunt for are these little rabbits. And when we talk about gathering, the only thing that you can gather are some type of berries. That'll keep our conversation a little bit simpler. So let's think about all of the scenarios. So first, let's call this first scenario, scenario A. And let's say, so let's call this the number of rabbits you can get. And then let's call this the number of berries. Let's do this column is the number of berries that you can get. So if you were to spend your entire day going after rabbits, all your free time out, making sure you have time to sleep and get dressed and all of those type of things, let's say that you can actually get 5 rabbits on average in a given day. But if you spend all your time getting rabbits, you're not going to have any time to get berries. So you're going to be able to get 0 berries. Now, let's say that you were to let's say you were to allocate a little bit more time to get berries and a little bit less time to get rabbits. So we'll call that scenario B. We'll call scenario B the reality where you have enough time to get 4 rabbits on average. And when you do that, all of a sudden you're able to get 100 you're able to get 100 berries. And when we do these different scenarios, we're assuming that everything else is equal. You're not changing the amount of time you have either hunting or gathering. You're not changing the amount of sleep. You're not changing your techniques for hunting rabbits or hunting berries, or you're not somehow looking to do other things with your time. So all other things are equal. And the general term for this, and it sounds very fancy if you were to say it in a conversation, is ceteris paribus. Ceteris paribus. Paribus, which literally means, so anytime someone says, oh, and ceteris paribus, we assume this variable changes or whatever else, they're saying we're assuming everything else is being held equal. So ceteris means all other things. Other things. You're probably familiar with et cetera. It's the same word, essentially. Other things, and paribus, other things equal. So you're not, when you're going from scenario A to scenario B, you're not changing the amount of time you're sleeping. You're not changing somehow the geography where you are. You're in a dramatic way. You're not changing the tools you use or the technology. Everything else is equal. The only variable you're changing is how much time you allocate to finding rabbits versus finding berries. So let's do some more scenarios, assuming ceteris paribus. So let me do scenario C. You could, on average, have enough time to get 3 rabbits, but if you get 3 rabbits, then all of a sudden you will only be able to get, or you will be able to get, or if you're only getting 3 rabbits, you're now able to get 180 berries. And let's do a couple more. I'm going to do 2 more scenarios. So let's say scenario D. If you reduce the amount of time you spend getting rabbits, so you get 2 rabbits, now all of a sudden you have enough time on average to get 240 berries. And then let's say you spend even less time. Let's say you spend even less time hunting for rabbits on average. Then you have even more time for berries, and so you're able to get 280 berries. And then I'll do one more scenario here. So let's say scenario F, and let's call these the scenarios. Scenario A through F. So scenario F is you spend all your time looking for berries, in which case, on average, you're going to be able to get 300 berries a day. But since you have no time for rabbits, you aren't going to get any rabbits. So what I want to do is plot these. And on one axis, I'll have the number of rabbits. And on the other axis, I'll have the number of berries. So let me do it right over here. So this axis, I will call this my rabbit axis, rabbits, and we'll start, that'll be 0, and then this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that will be 5 rabbits. And then in this axis, I will do the berries. So this right over here, let's make this 100 berries. This is 200 berries, and then this is 300 berries. And so this is my berries axis. Now let's plot these points, these different scenarios. So first we have scenario A. Maybe I should have done all of these colors in that scenario A color. Scenario A, 5 rabbits, 0 berries. 5 rabbits, 0 berries. We are right over there. That is scenario A. Scenario B, 4 rabbits, 100 berries. 4 rabbits, 100 berries. That's right over there. That's 100 berries. So that is scenario B. Scenario C, 3 rabbits, 180 berries. 3 rabbits, 180. Let's see, this would be 150. 180 will be like right over there. So if you have time for 3 rabbits, you have time for about 180 berries on average. So this is scenario C. And then scenario D, we have in white. If you have time for 2 rabbits, you have time for 240 berries. So that is right around there. So this is scenario D, because this is 250. Actually, it'll be a little bit lower. So this would be 250. So 240 is a little bit lower than that. So it'll be like right over there. That is scenario D. Scenario E, if you have time for 1 rabbit, you have time for 280 berries. So that gets us right about there. That is scenario E. And then finally, scenario F, you are spending all of your time looking for berries. You have no time for rabbits. So all of your time for berries, no time for rabbits. 0 rabbits, 300 berries. That's right over there. So this is scenario F. So what all of these points represent, these are all points, and now this is going to be a fancy word, but it's a very simple idea. These are all points on you as a hunter-gatherer, on your production possibilities frontier. Because if we draw a line, I just arbitrarily picked these scenarios, although I guess you could on average get 4.5 rabbits, on average get 3.5 rabbits, and then you'd have a different number of berries. So these are all points on the different combinations between the trade-offs of rabbits and berries. So let me connect all of these. Let me connect them in a color that I haven't used yet. So let me connect them. And what you see should just be one curve. So I'll do it as a dotted line. It's easier for me to draw a dotted curve than a straight curve. So this right over here, this curve right over here, represents all the possibilities of combinations of rabbits and berries. I've only picked certain of them, but you could have a scenario right over here. Maybe we could call that scenario G, where on average, the amount of time you've allocated, on average you would get 4.5 rabbits. So some days you'd get 4 rabbits, and every other day you'd get 5 rabbits. So maybe it averages out to 4.5 rabbits. And then maybe it looks like you would get about 50 berries in that situation. So all of these are possibilities. You don't have to just jump from 4 rabbits to 5 rabbits, or maybe you're spending, maybe in this scenario you're spending 7 hours, and in this scenario you spend 8 hours. But you could spend 7 hours in a minute or 7 hours in a second. So anything in between is possible, and all of those possibilities are on this curve. So these 5 scenarios, actually these 6 scenarios that we've talked about so far, these are just scenarios on this curve. And that curve we call, once again, fancy term, simple idea, our production possibilities. I have put 2 I's in there by accident. Possibilities frontier. Because it shows all of the different possibilities we can do. We can get 3 rabbits and 180 berries, 2 rabbits and 240 berries. What we cannot do is something that's beyond this. So for example, we can't get a scenario like this. So this right over here would be impossible. Impossible. Let me scroll over to the right a little bit. Let me scroll. See my scrolling thing. Okay. So this right over here is impossible. This point right over here, where I'm getting 5 rabbits and 200 berries. If I'm getting 5 rabbits, I'm spending all my time on rabbits. I have no time for berries. Or another way to think of it, if I'm getting 200 berries, I don't have enough time to get 5 rabbits. So this point is impossible. This point would be impossible. Any point that's on this side of the curve is impossible. Now, any point that's on this side of the curve, you can kind of view it as inside the curve or below the curve or to the left of the curve. All of these points right over here are possible. All of these points right over here are. These points, for example, it is very easy for me to get 1 rabbit and 200 berries. So that right over there is possible. Now, is that optimal? No, because if I were to really work properly, I could get many more berries, or I could get more rabbits. If I have 200 berries, I could get more rabbits, or if I'm concerned, if I only want 1 rabbit, I can get more berries. So this is possible. All of the points down here are possible, but they aren't optimal. They are not efficient. So the points in here will say that they are not efficient. Maybe somehow I'm not using my resources optimally to do this type of thing when I'm over here. Or maybe I'm just not being optimally focused, or whatever it might be. If you're talking about a factory setting, when you're talking about maybe deciding to make one thing or another, then maybe you just aren't using the resources in an optimal way. Now, all the points on the frontier, these are efficient. You're doing the most you can do. Right now, we're not making any judgment between whether any of these possibilities are better than any other possibility. All we are saying is that you are doing the most that you can do. Any of these things, you are making the most use of your time.
So yeah, that was a good video. There's a good video on PPF or PPC. I went through a lot of the like the budget constraint that you had. Like you have to stay within your budget. You can't go beyond it. And then like if you go to the right of the curve, you can't afford it unless there's economic growth. So this is more work on the graphs. So in this case, as your income increases, your consumption increases. That's usually what's found. People spend, in this case, they spend a large amount of their income on consumption. It's like over half based on this graph. So it shows that. And then if it's going up in both directions, it's a direct relationship. So that, it's an inverse relationship if it's going down. If one's going down and the other one's going up, it's an inverse relationship. So one goes down, one goes up. Slip of the line. So I'll show you some of those. So this, the 50 would be when it hits the y-axis, the vertical. So this would be 50 here. So 50 would be the when it hits the y-axis. And then it goes up by 0.5. So in other words, they spend 50% of their income on consumption is because the slope is 0.5. So if they earn $100, they will spend $50 on consumption. What about if they earn 200? Sorry, what about if they earn $400? How much would they spend on consumption if they earn 400? Anyone, like if you want to volunteer. Close. So in this case, so 400, they earn 400, they will spend about 200 on consumption. The reason why is because you have to add, so it's 200 in consumption, then you add the 50. Oh wait, so in this case, you'd have to actually add the, so yeah, you're closer. So it's so yeah, I'll just change this up. They earned $100. They will spend plus 0.5 100 equals $100 on consumption. So they spend it all on consumption in that case. And then if it's 400, so if they earn $400, they will spend $250. So that was close. Yeah, you got close. Thank you for the volunteering. So you'd use this equation to figure out the consumption. So then the relationship between ticket prices and attendance. So this shows that as they raise ticket prices, the attendance will go down. So yeah, so this is how it's shown here. If they raise ticket prices by $10, there's gonna be a 4-person decrease in attendance. So for every $10 increase in ticket prices, 4 less people will attend. So for every dollar increase in ticket prices, 4 less people attend the games. So yeah. And then slope of the line. We'll go through that. So if it's vertical, it's an infinite slope. So the slope's undefined. But if it's horizontal, the slope is 0. So infinite, another word for infinite is undefined. So undefined here. So you just, no one knows what it is. So this equation, you probably learned about in grade 9. It's like, it's basically y equals mx plus b formula. So y is the dependent variable, a is the vertical intercept, b is the slope of the line, and x is the independent variable. So in this case, 50 is the y-intercept, 0.5 is the slope. So hits 50 here, and it goes up by 0.5 every dollar of income. So yeah. Slope is 0. And here, the y-intercept 50, and it goes down by 2.5 per per 1 increase in attendance. So now, not a non-linear curve, the slope always changes. So it'll look, so it's a non-linear, so it could be curved or it could be like curved most likely. And you need to find, and finding a slope, you only find a slope at one point, like if you're using a tangent. So like this would be a good example. So what you would have to do to find the slope, you have to find it at one line like this. It's called so it's the instantaneous rate of change. So you got to pick like, so yeah, like that's the only way you can find the slope. So yeah. So graphs represent economic relationships. And yeah, I showed you a whole bunch so far there. So we're gonna do something to test your knowledge. Okay, so just pulling it up one sec. So for this one, which one does everyone want to do? Which version? So we got Gold Quest, we got Fishing Frenzy, we've got Crypto Hack. Crypto Hack over Google. So click this link, everybody. And then put in a nickname. So any name you want to go by. We'll wait for more people to come in. People can still come in. Yeah, just click on the link and then you can still log in. You're able to log in even midway through the game, so. Great job, everybody. Excellent job. Great job, Riley. Great job, Brad. Great job, Mun. Excellent job, everybody else. It's great. So we'll do the next one, the next PowerPoint. So the next PowerPoint will be on the market system and the circular flow. So we'll go through a lot of different systems that are used throughout the world. So laissez-faire, the command system, the market system, and how they work mostly. So economic systems, they're run differently all across the world, and they're usually run by certain institutions. And there's some centralized systems and some decentralized systems. So laissez-faire capitalism is the ideal economy for a lot of libertarians. So that's more the libertarian view. So the government is kind of absent except for protecting property from theft and having a strong legal environment for contract enforcement. So intellectual property, patent protection, copyright. So that's the government is defense focused and doesn't have anything else other than police and defense and the legal system, but everything else is gone, like privatized healthcare, privatized education, everything else. So it's the libertarian view of government, and it's good in some respects, but you do need uh, like having OHIP is great for us because we get free healthcare for a lot of things, and then having school for free through taxes, it's beneficial. So the laissez-faire wouldn't allow that, so there'd be a lot of problems with that. The command system is socialism or communism, so government ownership of resources. So North Korea, Cuba, and Myanmar follow that model. North Korea to the massive extreme where everything's owned by the government. I would argue China is like this. I know some people argue that it's more of a market economy now or a mixed economy, but I still argue that it's a command system because the government still owns everything. I know that. So Jack Ma, who founded Alibaba, he spoke out against the Chinese government and then went missing for months. Also how government arrangements happen with stock holdings is if you buy Chinese stock, the government actually owns the company and you're buying an index fund that's tracking the value of that stock. So the government actually owns all the companies in China, and if you think you buy a share of a company in China, you're actually buying an index that tracks the company's value. So I still believe it's a command system there, but I know some other people argue the other way, but the government owns all the corporations. And then the market system is so there's decentralized decision making with some government control, and its systems found in much of the world. So private markets are the dominant force, and private ownership of resources. The market system focuses on private property, freedom of enterprise, freedom of choice, self-interest, competition, and market and prices. So this focuses on the like how free the market is in parts of the world. So Hong Kong, Singapore, and Australia. are a lot more focused on laissez-faire, while Canada, United States, Botswana are reasonably focused, like mostly focused on laissez-faire slash market. And then Israel, Spain, and Italy are around the middle of the pack, focusing on market slash laissez-faire. And Cambodia, Greece, and Argentina are going more towards this command economy route. And then Mozambique, Algeria, and North Korea are more command economies. So in the market system, better technology and capital goods are encouraged because it improves efficiency and there's more division of labor through learning by doing, saving time, avoiding switching tasks, geographic specialization. So market system, money is a medium of exchange and barter requires coincidence of wants. So that's why you need money, because barter only works if you have equal value to trade. So money facilitates trade when wants do not coincide. So it's important to have some sort of money to facilitate the transaction, because like you're not going to pay for a car with you're not going to pay for a car with let's say your clothes. Like it's not going to happen. So you need to have some sort of money to facilitate the transaction. Also, you're not going to pay for a new car with your old car, because your old car it's lost a lot of value after you bought it. So you need some sort of money to facilitate the transaction. So market failures are inherent in the market system. So the government is important because the market system is not always efficient. So the market system is not efficient all the time. So when it's not efficient, the government should intervene. So the government needs to subsidize or reduce taxes when there's inefficiencies in the market. So the five questions to ask are: what goods and services will be produced? How will the goods and services be produced? Who will get the goods and services? How will the system accommodate change? And how will the system promote progress? So what will be produced? The goods and services that can be produced at a continuing profit. Total revenues greater than total cost. Consumer sovereignty determines the types and quantities. Dollar votes reflect wants. The employment of resources derives from the sale of the goods and services they help produce. So how will the goods and services be produced? Minimize the cost per unit by using the most efficient techniques. Right mix of labor and capital, optimal location, production facilities, technology, price of the necessary resources. So system accommodates change, so changes in consumer taste, changes in technology, changes in resource prices. The directing or guiding function of prices and profits is a core element of the market system. And how will the system promote progress, technological advance, innovation and product, income increasing, innovation and process, cost reducing, creative destruction, capital accumulation. Entrepreneurs and business owners use part of profit to purchase capital goods to receive higher profit in the future. So Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith. In a highly competitive market system, prices communicate information about scarcity and value. Competition forces producers and resource suppliers to respond. Firms acting in their best interests also promote society's interest in terms of efficiency. So 3 special merits: the market system, efficiency and use of resources, and use of technologies, techniques of production, and development of new and more efficient technologies. Incentives: the market system encourages skill acquisition, hard work, and innovation. Freedom: rewards and penalties are imposed by the market system. So command systems was a failure. Soviet Union, Eastern Europe, and China. So there's no incentive because there's no ownership. Private companies, the government owns everything, so there's no incentive to work because you're only going to get you're only going to get a fixed wage. Like there's no incentive because you don't have any ownership. The owners are the people who make the real money out of something. So like only making a wage, there's no incentive to go beyond that. And households. So I'll show you the circular flow diagram. So there's sole proprietors. They're unincorporated, business owned and operated by a single person. Partnership, two or more individuals pool their financial resources and business skills to operate the business and share the profits/losses. Incorporation, an independent legal entity that can acquire resources, own assets, produce, sell, incur debts, extend credit, etc. Product market is where the goods and products and services produced by businesses are bought and sold. Businesses use the income they receive to buy goods and services, and the money spent on goods and services flows to businesses as revenue. So households sell resources to businesses, households sell resources to generate income, businesses buy resources to produce goods and services. Productive resources flow from households to businesses. The money flows from businesses to households as wages, rents, interests, and profits. So yeah, this is a circular flow diagram. It's a good visualization of how the economy works. So the household generate wages, interest, and profits, and rents, and they purchase consumption goods with that money. And then the goods and services that they purchase go back to the households. And then households give labor, land, capital, and entrepreneurship to the factory market that produces more goods and services. And then the product market sells and gains revenue. And then that money goes to businesses and they buy factors of production like labor, products, like inventory, and they sell the products. And the goods and services go to the products that they sell go to the households. And then the households give factors of production in terms of labor, and the businesses pay for their costs. So it all leads back. And then in usual circular flow model also has government in the middle, where households and businesses pay taxes to the government to fund the government, and then the government pays households and businesses subsidies from the taxes that they collect. So it's usually a redistribution mechanism. So like say businesses pay most of the tax, and then like a lot of the tax goes to households that are struggling. So usually like that's how it works. And then like the taxes are used to pay for education, healthcare, and national defense. So the command economies don't manage entrepreneurship very well because the government owns the companies, so there's no real entrepreneurs. And then so yeah, this is a good explanation of what laissez-faire, command system, and market system are, and what the invisible hand is. The invisible hand is like it's basically saying that everything will fix itself in the economy and you don't need government to come in to fix it. So it's Adam Smith created it. So the invisible hand puts everything back into place and you don't have to do anything. And then the circular flow model shows where money goes and where products and services come from and how the economy works. And then the market system, the entrepreneur takes on all the risk in the market system. While in the command economy, the government takes on all the risk. So bring up our next activity. So for this, who wants to? So what are two disadvantages of a command economy? You can type in the chat or you can mute. That's good. Yeah, that's correct. So yeah, great job. Excellent job. So that's a good one. And maybe that's Hamza too. Great job. So what is a mixed economy, everybody? What's a mixed economy, everybody? It was called it's called a market economy in the slides, but it's also referred to as mixed economy. That's good, great job. What's two advantages of a command economy? Great job, Hamza and Patrick. Those are good answers. So you both point for that. True or false, command economies fail sometimes because of a lack of incentive to be productive. Great, excellent job. So Nolan, Amanveer, and Hamza. Okay. Amanveer. Great. So what are two characteristics of command economy? Great, yeah, that's a good answer. And then what is a command economy? Yeah, I think that's great. So yeah, it's a good explanation. So Hamza Giovanni, okay. Great job. So what are two advantages of mixed economy? So mixed economy is the market economy that we talked about in the the slides. Hamza Nolan. That's good. Um, great. What does it promotes quick economic development, encourages less income inequality, provides freedom to own. Then yeah, great. Excellent. Good job, everybody. So what are the three disadvantages of a mixed economy? So market economy, business size. Great. Yep. And then what about two characteristics of a mixed economy? Yeah, good job. That's a good answer. Yep, coexistence, that's good. So true or false, mixed economies are partly run by government. True. Yep, that's great. Great job. Excellent. And then two disadvantages of a traditional economy. So traditional will be it's more like laissez-faire. Yeah. Like it's like another word for laissez-faire. Good job. And then what are two advantages of a traditional economy? So think advantages of a laissez-faire economy. It's kind of like laissez-faire, but it's more like it's kind of like if you had laissez-faire in like olden days. Yeah. Great, excellent job. And then what are three characteristics of a traditional economy? That's great. So yeah, with traditional economies, there was a lot of bartering because they didn't really have currency back then. So there was a lot of bartering. Um, and like you saw how hard bartering was, right? Like if let's say you want to let's say you want to buy a house, right? Like you want to buy a house. right? So like they have, so like the home builder has the house, you have your car, your clothes, right? You want to buy a house and there is no money, not even crypto, right? So the home builder has the house, you have your car, your clothes, your ring, that's it, right? So you're not going to be able, like, bartering doesn't work because you don't have enough assets to, like, they're not going to give you the house for your car, your clothes, and your ring, right? Like, it just doesn't work. You need, like, you need money because the value of of like products you trade are not equal. So yeah, that's a big reason why we need money. So yeah, Giovanna and Hamza, that's great. Yeah, so that's yeah, great job. Then what is traditional economy based on what we've gone through so far in this category? Bartering, no currency does not work well in a modern era. That's, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's bang on. Great job. You just like got it like 100%. It's great. And then true or false, traditional economies are not vulnerable to market and command economies. Yeah, yeah, great job, Nolan, Giovanni, and Hamza. That's great. Excellent job, great job. And then what are two disadvantages of a market economy? So in this case, give me one second. So in this case, market economy would be laissez-faire in this case. So just swap this out because so market economy would be laissez-faire. And then so I'll make an and then mixed economy would be market economy. And then command economy would just be command economy. So market economy is just laissez-faire. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, great job, Nolan. Yeah, you need government because so being an entrepreneur is the ideal way because yeah, good job, Giovanni. Yeah. So being an entrepreneur is great because you get all the money on top of what you pay your workers. Like that's basically what happens. And I have a blog that goes through that constantly. Like I go through, so like one of the articles I wrote, like I read a lot about entrepreneurship. So I'll send you the, so I do a whole breakdown of how much entrepreneurs make. So um so like actually be able to send this one to you. So so this article about capital ownership and wage earning, it goes through like so in this case, capital owners take in all the profits while wage owners are paid earners are paid a wage per hour. So like you pay like let's say $15 an hour to your employee, right? Let's say you have one employee, right? You pay them $15 an hour, and let's say the employee produces $100 per hour of work. So you take the you take everything on top of the $15 that you pay him. So you take the $85 away from him and that goes to you. So they're making $15 because you're paying them $15 while they give you basically $100. So it's a bad bargain. So like you need to be a capital owner, and that's and like in a laissez-faire economy or market economy, this works because you can be a capital owner, you can be an entrepreneur. In a command economy, you can't because the government owns all the businesses, so you can't take advantage of what I'm saying here. But you if you own your own business or buy stock, you're going to get everything on top of what you pay your workers. So like this is done through investing in stock and real estate instead of earning per hour. So and then yeah, basically, so like I invest in stocks because of that. So I'm investing in CN, CP Rail, BMO, TD, RBC, Tesla, and crypto. So I just sold it at Amazon, but I own those stocks because I'm following what like the owners, the capital owners, they take home everything above what is paid to the workers. So you can take advantage of that through buying stock, or if you start your own business. So you can do both or one or the other. So I wanted to talk to you about that. So you can that's why I made our assignment on like connecting like the market economy, the laissez-faire economy, and the command economy, and everything else we learned so far, the PPC and etc. On like connecting it to entrepreneurship because I want you to go through how you can be an entrepreneur to make enormous wealth, and like it's a good skill. So yeah, that's why I made the assignment like that, because we can connect a lot of what we learn in this course to entrepreneurship. So two advantages of a market economy. So think two advantages of a laissez-faire economy. That's good. Yeah, great job. So Nolan, Giovanna, I'm so great. Great job. What about what is a laissez-faire economy in your opinion? Great. So then what are two characteristics of a market economy? So laissez-faire in this case. Yeah, it's great. And why do market economies fail sometimes? That's great. And true or false, command economies lack efficiency. That's great. Great job, everybody. It's true or false, market economies are random private property. So think laissez-faire. It's great, good job. And then what type of economy is driven by self-interested individuals? So you're right. This answer is actually wrong. But you're right. Uh yeah. Yeah, I'll give you the point because it's marketed. Yeah. And then being exposed to nature and having to limit population are two disadvantages of what type of economy? Traditional. Yeah, traditional. And then largest country with a planned economy. So command economy. What's the largest country with a command economy? I can answer like uh yeah, because it's my answer is different than their answer because like the reason why is because I invest and I know that um the answer is the right answer based on investing. Yeah, like you're right. Nolan and Hamza are right. That's true. That's great. Great job, everybody. So we'll
Today, we're going to talk about efficiency and the production possibility frontier. But first, I have to tell you a story about something that happened in my classroom once. The janitors had gone on strike, and so the professors and the students were given assignments to clean the classrooms. I had 5 students on my team, and we had 2 tasks to scrape gum from under the desks and to clean dust from the lights. At first, I had all the students crawling around under the desks scraping gum. We were able to scrape a lot of gum that way, but we weren't getting any of the lights cleaned. So I needed to switch over a student from gum scraping to light cleaning. Who should I switch over? Yeah, Mark, the tall guy. Why? He had the lowest opportunity cost of cleaning lights. When we switched him over, we gave up very little gum scraping because that was hard for him to do. But we got a lot of lights cleaned because he's so tall. But what if we needed even more lights cleaned? We'd have to switch more students over and give up more gum scraped. Who is the next person to switch? Maria, because she's the next tallest. Relative to Mark, she gives up a bit more gum scraped and cleans a few less lights, but she still has the lowest gum cleaning opportunity cost of those remaining. We can continue the process until we've got everyone except Alex, the shortest student, cleaning the lights. Alex is great at scraping gum, and she would be terrible at cleaning the lights. If we switch her over, we'd be giving up a lot of gum scraped and getting very few lights cleaned. When we graphed the different combinations of students and tasks, we found that we had a production possibility frontier. It's bowed outwards because different resources, workers in this case, have different abilities, and that means different opportunity costs. But what would have happened if, when everyone was scraping gum, I had switched over Alex, the shortest person, to cleaning lights? That's exactly the wrong thing to do. We would have given up lots of gum and gotten few lights cleaned. Relative to the original plan, that would have put us here. Economists call a point like this inefficient. You're not using your productive resources in a way that produces the most possible output. Do you need to bring in more workers to get the cleaning done? No. You just need to rearrange who is doing what, and you get more of both. Any point that is on the PPF is considered efficient. Some points have more gum scraped, some points have more lights cleaned, but you're getting the most out of your workers at every point. When you're efficient, you can't get more lights cleaned without giving up some gum scraping. How about a point way out here? That would be great. We'd get tons of both goods, but with the current numbers of workers and their current abilities, we just can't produce there. This is called infeasible. The only way we can get to that point is by adding more workers or by making each worker more productive.
Okay, so that's a good video showing that the that it's efficient if it's on the line, inefficient if it's inside the line or like below the line, and if it's infeasible if it's beyond the line. So that's a good video showing how PPF works. So the for the rest of the class, there's this. So what I was. I'll just bring it up a second. So on top of the assignments and tests and exams for this course and the quiz, I'm going to provide extra credit questions just to get like there'll be extra marks if you do these questions. So like I'm going to so an extra so you can get extra credit if you do these questions. So it's just on the assignments tab on Blackboard. So I'm going to give you time until the end of the class to do these questions, and I'll give you extra credit for these questions. And I'll 1 second. So you're able to, so it's good practice for the rest of the course, and then I can give you an extra 20% if you complete, like, you can get up to an extra 20% of the course if you complete these questions, like all of them. So there's a lot of extra marks. So like if you complete them at like an A+ rate, then you can get up to about an extra 20% of the course. So I just decided to put that in. So yeah, you have an opportunity to increase your grade. So yeah, under assignments, extra credit, I'm gonna post like extra credit questions. I'll give you the last 20 minutes of the class to do that. So I'm going to I'm gonna leave I'm gonna leave this I'm gonna leave this open until 5:30. If you have any questions, but I left this up for you to complete for the last 20 minutes. Great job, everybody, today, and thanks for the participation. And see you next week. But yeah, any questions you have, just ask me and on the extra credit. Everybody, when you're done the questions, you can leave. Great job today. Thank you for all your participation. Great participation, great energy, excellent job. I'm gonna close the meet because I have the next class coming in soon. But yeah, great job, everybody. And yeah, email me if you have any questions. And yeah, and I'll just give you my contacts. Any questions you have, just send me a message. Yeah, take care, everybody. See you next week. Bye.